Oh, this is it. Development update, hybrid footage combat. Ooh. That looks a lot better. Alrighty.
Hello everyone, welcome to our development update for August 2020. Today's update will have a studio update from Steven. We did announce some stuff with My Games,
Okay,
so
awesome.
we'll talk a little bit about that. We do also have a design update. We have some in-game footage, actually 2 videos for you this time around.
Okay.
And environment art update as well, with some cool assets in that end.
I'm just going to listen to the intro and then we'll move on.
The
Okay,
character
guys?
update with another video as well.
Just to preface this video, guys, again, I always want to emphasize that the UI that you're going to see here is placeholder. Not a lot, there's still a lot of polish that's necessary and optimization. This
Yeah,
is
you got to say shit like this.
initial implementation of the hybrid combat, but just wanted to give you an idea of what's going to be experienced in Alpha 1, and how we'll iterate from there. So yeah.
Makes sense.
And of course, taking feedback, we'll always take feedback and assess things as we go forward too.
We would hope so,
All right,
yes.
so I'm going to toss that video over. We'll see you in about 10 minutes.
Okay, here we go.
Hey everybody, welcome.
That's me, by the way, after I beat the grizzly bear. So this is just like the logical progression. I beat the grizzly bear in New World, and then this is me riding on him.
To another video in Ashes of Creation.
Okay, here we
I'm
go.
Talking a little bit about the hybrid combat system that's currently
Mr.
kind
Bear.
of first pass, early iteration of integrating the action components along with the tab targeting
Okay.
type component. So before we kind of take a look at this stuff, I just want to reiterate that this is the early look at Alpha 1. It is the preview. And a lot of the systems are very first pass, and it's up to the testers that we're going to have present in the different
You said the
phases
UI is
of Alpha
customizable.
and
That's great.
Beta, kind of helping us to fine-tune and iterate upon these implementations. So one of the most important things to keep in mind as you're watching this stuff is that a lot of the art, while it looks great, we have an amazing artist team, but a lot of the art is first pass, including especially the UI. So keep that in mind. A lot of this UI is placeholder and will be further fleshed out as we...
Yeah, I think that's obviously like one thing is like making like one thing that WoW has that really makes it more timeless and unique is the fact that its art style is more stylized, and because it's more stylized, it's harder for that art style to show age, and because of that, I think that it just kind of creates a situation where people don't see the like the shortcomings of the art as much, and also. Like, I think Ashes of Creation, like, one of the things that would be cool to me to see is, like, the new types of animals that they create, because that, in my opinion, is what really kind of makes the world feel unique and special, is, like, that individual touch and, like, that stylization that differentiates each different game. And I think WoW does a great job with that. And like, just Blizzard in general does a great job with that.
get more along in the project.
Talk about that later. Well, hopefully we'll see.
Talking a little bit about the hybrid combat system. Let's take a look at the skill system. So this is where players allocate skill points into their different either active skills, their passive abilities, which can augment their usage of weapons and armors.
Yeah,
and
imagine having a talent
regeneration and passive
It's pretty
stats
rudimentary,
and
but,
stuff like that. On the weapon side of things, that's where you will spec into certain types of procs based off of weapon groupings. So, we've talked a little bit about this in the past. If you have a dagger, daggers might have a chance to proc a bleed on your weapon attack, and that would synergize with an active skills ability, like let's say backstab, that does additional damage if the target is under a bleed effect. Now,
I think like compounding bonuses like that you can kind of build up through your talent tree is one thing that makes players feel like they actually are customizing and creating their own character. It's just important to make sure that each of the different builds doesn't necessarily become the meta. So there's always going to be like a best build, and because they don't have add-ons in this game and the game doesn't have default damage meters, it will be harder to find that out. But I do worry that things like that will happen. So I think that's just something that you have to come in and just kind of iterate on after players see it. Like, you can't necessarily like plan for what's going to happen, because you can't beta test a release. That's really the truth. Yeah, there's no add-ons. Exactly.
Said in the past that players will be able to allocate skill points into their active skills that are more geared towards either action combat or tab targeting. And, you know, as an example, you can kind of see, you know, these skills can have additional points allocated to them to unlock further features.
So let me see here. Do you guys want me to make it a little bit bigger? I can do it like right here so you guys can maybe see the whole thing. It's like usually like the corner here isn't really as important in an MMO. Yeah, okay, I'll make it a bit bigger just so you guys can read what's on the screen.
Them can be tabbed to start and become action if you allocate additional skill points, and this is one of the ways that we kind of balance the skills between action and tab targeting, you know, requiring additional skill points in order to unlock certain features of that skill, and then it becomes a tab or an action type skill. So what I'd like to show you is, let's see if we can find some monsters.
I want to see him ride around on the bear, honestly. Okay.
Can look.
You hear the thumping? Listen to the thumping.
Some monsters.
What is that thumping?
We can look for something nearby. Okay, here we go. We got some macaws.
Okay, all right, we've got these guys here.
And a raptor.
Okay.
So
he's gonna kill the bird.
Out here.
He's gonna kill
one of the
squawks.
things I'm going to show you is essentially the weapon
shield's
attack.
awesome.
So you see on the queue down here we have a it's a silver guardian weapon. Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Oh, that's the character sheet. Power damage bonus, dexterity, physical skill cooldown, additional gameplay effects. I mean, this looks like pretty much what you'd expect to see. So you have like your helmet, your shoulders, your bracers, your chest piece, your legs, your boots, your gloves, and your belt. You have 2 rings, a necklace, and I'm assuming maybe a trinket or earrings. It's hard to say. Yeah, it's kind of hard to say what the other ones are.
This is a rare,
of course, weapon and shield.
like level 10 weapon.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. But these guys, I think, are low.
Okay, here we go.
Level 1. As you can see, I'm currently in the tab mode, essentially. Oh, look at the poor little thing fly.
Oh, so he targeted him. Okay, I see.
Wow,
he's got the little red circle around him.
This thing's pathing all over the place. I can click and I can target. I can tab target if I want to.
Okay.
So yeah, tab between that. So this is the traditional kind of tab targeting. I can, you know, my camera movement is not tied to my cursor. I can kind of look around and do kind of stuff like that. I can look at my cool silver sword.
Yeah, that's what matters.
But players can very easily transition between tab targeting and action combat.
Okay.
By pressing Z, I now tie my cursor movement to my camera.
Oh,
and
so this
additionally,
is like New World.
a reticle has spawned. Now, like I said previously, UI here is relatively rudimentary and
so you just do
early.
one or the other.
But essentially, as I hover over targets with this reticle, I will get indicators through color and highlights on the reticle that will tell me essentially either distance to the target, whether or not a skill that I might have prepped could hit the target from this distance. I can left click and tab target a target currently.
Okay.
Now we'll change that to be right click.
A double
right
strike.
now it's left click, but it should be right click.
All right.
And additionally, I can, when targeting an enemy this way, I can utilize my tab targeting skills. So I'll try to hook this dude. Come on over, little buddy. and my left click will attack.
So this is just tab targeting.
Kind of.
Or wait, oh no,
here.
it's not. Let me see here. So, so he just cut that bitch up. Yeah, it's both? Yeah, all right. So let's see, what's the next one?
Another important thing to note, let's
right.
see if we can get a few of these guys, is that all weapons have a forward cone to some degree. Based on the weapon type,
That
it'll
makes
change.
sense.
Pole arms, for example, will have a much wider arc and much further out.
So Guild Wars 2 combat?
Daggers
I
will
never
have a
played
more
Guild Wars 2,
fine-tuned
so I can't
arc,
really comment on that.
so you have to be more precise in that regard.
All right.
So if I pull this sword, if I pull a few of these macaws, let's
Okay, here we go.
grab a few of them. Come on over, buddies. So we have a few macaws here.
So,
Little buddies, I feel horrible. But you'll see as I attack, I'm hitting multiple numbers of these opponents. And that's important
there it is.
because all weapons, regardless of if you're in reticle mode or tab targeting mode, you will be able to have a action-based type weapon attack. Not active skill, but weapon attack.
Okay. No AoE cap? Oh my god, yeah, I guess not. All right, so that combat was obviously really good. Let's go ahead. We'll look at it one more time. So, like, in terms of things that I like and don't like, the numbers, the way that the numbers show up on the screen, I think is too small. It's hard to read. And, like, for me personally, like, I really have always enjoyed the way that, like, WoW, or, like, at least, like, Vanilla WoW, right? Vanilla WoW, whenever you hit something, you see, like, that fucking, 37. Or like fucking, like let's say you've got a really good weapon, like 115, and it's like, oh my god, wow. And like that number pops up on your screen and you see that fucker. And so that's obviously one important thing. In terms of like scrolling combat text, that kind of stuff, it just matters like how much you can turn it off and modify it. And if you can turn it off and modify this kind of stuff, I think that's really being able to customize the built-in customization. Yeah, I think that's really what matters the most. Yeah, fat crits, exactly.
Regardless of if you're in reticle mode or tab targeting mode,
that's good.
You will be able to have a action-based type weapon
Even New World
attack,
does that, right? They do.
Skill,
New World does a
weapon
great
attack.
job with numbers.
I
actually, so we targeted him, and they throw them death grip.
So that's an important note. Weapons each have their own unique and individual forward arcs and distance that they deal damage to a target. Let's see if we can go.
So, like, whenever... Let's look at that one again. Let's look at that again.
So, that's an important note. Weapons each have their own unique and individual...
I like how some of the attacks move the character forward, and it feels like more... it feels like more... There's like more movement in the spells and more movement in the abilities, and you really like kind of feel the damage that you're dealing. Yeah, it's more impactful, it's more weightful, it's more dynamic. Yeah, there's momentum, immersive. I think obviously, like, I always use Black Desert as like a gold standard for this. I think Black Desert does movement and like having that like visceral fucking immersive dynamic combat. I think Black Desert does that better than any game. And I think that any MMO coming out should look to try to emulate what Black Desert does.
Forward arcs and distance that they...
not in all ways, but in combat and like the way that it feels.
See if we can go over here.
Okay.
And...
He missed the flower.
Let me grab this little plant.
All right.
What's up, buddy?
There it is.
Give me your goods.
There it is, dude. Got him.
Some stuff here. Now, obviously, as I've said in the past, action, combat, and tab are two very different tempos. And
yeah, I would say so.
If we had to go through and rework kind of combat not to be hybrid, I would lean more in favor of tab targeting with high mobility and a lot of template type attacks to kind of represent that more skill-oriented combat.
I agree with that. I think tab targeting is really good, and here's one of the reasons why I think that it's really good is because it makes the game more accessible for a wider variety of players. So a lot of people are not very good at depth perception and at like spatial awareness, and tab targeting and giving people like a certain degree of rails in their combat makes it easier for them to play the game. And I understand that obviously that is like kind of, it does diminish some degree of the skill in combat, but I think that that diminishment of skill is worth it in order to make the game that much more accessible to that many more people, right? It is a boomer mechanic, but I think that there are a lot of boomers, and in general, I think the tab targeting is probably better overall. I hate tab targeting. Well, I agree with what Steven says. I like having tab targeting, but then also having spells that you can use and cast that don't follow tab targeting rules. So you have things like in WoW, like Arcane Orb, or like AoEs that you place on the ground and stuff like that. So it's not just that, but having a tab target as like a baseline is good.
But I think that through testing in alpha and beta,
Okay.
But especially alphas, that we will be able to fine-tune this so that it sits comfortably between the two different types of speeds, essentially. Oh, we got some mushrooms.
Tab for PvE, skill shots for PvP. A little bit of both. Oh, wait. Oh, you can fight the mushrooms. Holy shit. How is the mushroom stronger than a raptor?
Another thing that's important about
look at that.
These action combats is the ability to kind of dodge.
Okay.
And kind of moving out of the way of certain skill shots. And oh, that's a death cap. I don't think we want to do that one. Yeah, that's not. We can't do that.
He's level 8. This is going to sound like really, really stupid, but I like it whenever there are high-level mobs in low-level areas. Like, it's like such a small, like, little fucking irrelevant thing. But, like, do you remember whenever, dude, I love that. And here's why I love it, is because it fucking creates the depth. It creates the depth of the fucking game. Like, whenever I went over and we fought the grizzly bear, and I thought, dude, I thought I was the longest dick logger in the lands. And then I go up to where the grizzly bear is, and this is like a low-level 20 area, you know, like 15 area. And I see this tree, and this tree is fucking, I've got to get 200 logging for this tree. And like just kind of creating that depth in the game, it is so important to give people that feeling of immersion. And I love that, like the Fell Reaver, like having like ZG out in Stranglethorn Vale, and like just the way Stranglethorn Vale is designed in general, and just a number of other examples of like this too. I love having that kind of stuff in the game. Son of Aragol, yeah, exactly. That's another good one. Stitches, yeah, Final Fantasy has that. That's a good idea. I'm glad they do. Okay. Yeah, these are only level 4s. That other one was level 8. That was pretty cool. Like a flame sword thing.
It's going to be interesting to see players. Oh, here we go. It's going to be interesting to see essentially players kind of testing out this hybrid combat, seeing how it feels, getting an idea for essentially the balancing that's going to be required and hosting different types of CC effects across the different targeting methods.
Sound effects are fun, yeah, good.
And iterating on this, and you guys are going to be a part of that every step of the way, giving great feedback as all of you do normally, which we appreciate on our...
So I always like seeing the giant fucking skeletons of bones, because it makes me... It's like the idea... I've always liked that, and then if there's like one of the monsters that's left, you know, that's like actually that fucking size, it just feels fucking cool. Like, I don't know, I love the grandeur of it, and things like that are just really interesting to me. This is a very, and you have to understand, this is pre-alpha, right? And so I'm sure like a lot of these like little things will be, you know, fine-tuned and polished more. And also, like, we don't really know, like, what the graphic settings are and how high they go and, you know, what the capabilities
Discord or forums or Reddit. It's always great to get kind of player
what the hell is that?
Feedback. Go bad for this crab.
Ooh. What was that?
You know, Bacon made this crab.
Get him out of here.
So, I hope you guys enjoyed taking a look at the
I think one thing that New World does very well is they do lighting very well. New World's lighting is incredibly well done, and I like to see other games kind of follow that same goal. And I really like the way that they make it actually look like it's kind of, you know, real life. Night's amazing, like you know, dusk is amazing. It just, like the sunset, it just looks so good. And so I do hope that they take some you know, something from that.
Hybrid combat system. And feel free to leave some comments, and I will see you guys
That's
back
fine,
on
right?
stream
But like,
here
I just think they should
momentarily.
enable it in the engine.
Later.
Okay.
All right. So with that, I feel like there's a lot of questions in chat that we've already answered quite a bit of in regards to blocking. Are there going to be more abilities than just the abilities that obviously they saw there? So I don't know if you want to kind of like touch base on some of those other things you might have seen in chat. But again, I think a lot of those questions we've answered before, and this is early implementation again. So keep that in mind, everybody.
I think, you know, one of the most important things is you guys are seeing that, you know, we, obviously the team loves to see the excitement, the you know, the feedback about how.
1 second before they talk anymore, I want to ask, guys. I know there's a female girl on the screen. Let's just settle down for a minute, okay? What did you guys think of that combat? What's your feedback on that combat? What's your opinion on it? Good, bad, in the middle, 1 out of 10. What do you guys think? Yeah, what do you think? I think it's decent, right? And it's one of those things that just, obviously it needs work, but it's pretty good for where it's at. 7 out of 10. Okay, all right. It'll get better in time. We'll see. It looks too anime, and I don't think it does at all.
Great the game looks and all that kind of stuff. That's very important to us. But really what the purpose is of, you know, going into these alpha phases is going to be is getting data, getting logs, getting the actual feeling feedback from the players. And there's a long way to go in making combat what it needs to be. I've said this in the past, you know, the design team knows this. We all know this. Combat is the most tactile system in the game. It's the thing you will experience most often. And outside of the systems and mechanics that are going to be present for kind of the overarching core gameplay loop, combat needs to feel responsive. It needs to not feel floaty. It needs to feel...
That is one of the biggest problems that I have with New World, is a lot of times combat does not really feel responsive. Like, I feel like I'm not in control of my character more often than I am whenever I'm in certain fights. That to me is not fun. And like making the player feel like they're in control of their character, and whenever they lose in a combat situation that it's their fault and not just some sort of thing where they're just rendered powerless and they lose based off of a mechanic in the game, that's not as fun to a player. And at least in my opinion, right? It's one of the most frustrating things in New World for me personally, and I'll talk about that in a little while whenever we get into the game. But what I really like what he's saying here is that combat is the most important mechanic in the game. I 100% fucking agree with this. And making it feel good is the main important thing. And like having it be responsive, like WoW, you can say a lot of really bad things about WoW. But one thing that you cannot say is that unless you're near 10 other players, the game is very responsive. You hit a button, something happens. You hit a spell, something happens. Like WoW has great responsiveness. Like it is extremely, extremely responsive, and it's very, very well programmed. And I think that's one of the main selling points of the game, in my opinion.
Mobile. It needs to be fluid. It needs to
Yes.
Give a feeling of satisfaction. The audio components, the effects components, the animations themselves, the types of skills, and you know, those types of things. All of those are really kind of our objective in fine-tuning the approach for our combat in Ashes of Creation. And I just want to make sure that you guys are aware, you know, as we go through these alphas, it's going to be rapidly changing. There might be several prototypes we attempt to play with the live audience. You know, that's the best way I think that we as a development team can yield a successful system in combat, is that type of iteration, that type of player involvement.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to move on to the next video, which is going to talk about more Castle Siege oriented things?
Oh,
I do want to preface before we go to this video that obviously we've used some GM hacks. You wouldn't be able to like run around like we were and like
all right, GM
lose
hacks.
the mobs that easily.
Yes, and also I'd like to preface that the castle you see here is really intended for like what systems will be able to have online by Alpha 1 for certain Castle Siege testing.
Small.
We did. Yeah, it's very small. So it's like maybe 1/4 of the size of an actual castle at launch.
Okay.
And there will be a lot more, inner corridors and rooms and multiple portcullises and gates and stuff like that. We have shown in the past a little bit of the destruction physics of castles, so you won't see that in this video. We're just kind of taking you around and talking a little bit about the castle system for especially those of you who are new and might not have received a lot of information about castle sieges. That's kind of what this video goes over a little bit.
Right, switching over to that.
I feel like castle sieges are like, that's like one of the main like core PvP focuses of the game. And like having like the large scale things like that, that's really, I think, what makes people feel like they're part of an MMO. So getting this right is super important.
Hello, everybody. Welcome
Look
to
at those fucking
another
mounts.
video. We are recording here not
Oh my
live.
God.
This is pre-recorded. It is
Okay,
Thursday,
here we go.
August 27th at 5:53 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
I really
I
like
am
the green
joined
lizard. I think it's
by
awesome.
Tiny Toast, the tiniest of toasts currently.
Okay.
And also by Leperzo, not Leperza, Margaret Crow.
I changed my character, and my other character's name is Leperza, so
All right.
here we are.
Here we go.
So we just wanted to kind of showcase a little bit of the
Let's see what the
castle,
castle looks like.
implementation. We're just going to take you over near the castle and talk a little bit about it.
Okay, here we go.
You are still on the Alpha Island, but we are hoping to get castles online for some activity in Alpha 1.
So he said that this castle is going to be like a third the size of what normal castles are, right? I don't know if I heard that right. I'm pretty sure I did, didn't I? 1/4 the size of what a normal castle is going to be. Okay, all right. So let's just keep that into context.
We're just going to kind of run around and show off the castle at its current state, which is owned by NPCs because no players have taken it.
Makes sense.
And yeah, want to head over there?
Okay, here
Yeah,
we go.
let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yee.
Here we go.
Let
Just watch
us
out for
go.
the mushrooms. There's a few of them on the way.
Oh, are there some mushrooms?
Yeah.
I like how it's
That's
like a
unfortunate.
mix between a camel
we,
and an
like,
anteater.
Cook them? Capture them?
Saute them.
That'd be awesome.
Ooh. You know, we had stuffed mushrooms last night. I put it in the food channel.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That looked really good.
I've never eaten a mushroom in my life.
It was pretty yummy.
Unless
like
I'm
how you're
playing-
on
Will
that
players
skill
be
runner.
able to create stuffed mushrooms?
The
That's a
Scout
good
Runners
question.
cracks me up.
Okay, where's
Well, the
this,
mount you're
where's
on
this
too is
castle?
really funny.
Oh, the,
Yours looks
Desert
so
mount.
majestic with its long legs, like a gazelle.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
me.
Oh, there it is.
Your legs are so funny.
There it
So
is.
up here
dude.
you can see one of the castles, probably those of you guys who participated in the Apocalypse testing recognize.
And this is 1/4 the size of what it's actually going to be? Yo, if you had 4 of these together and you got to take over that whole fucking thing, man? Bro, that's a lot. That's a lot of shit, dude. Oh my god.
This castle in particular, this is a bacon constructed castle. This is a little bit
Okay.
smaller than actually the size of the castles and how they'll actually be in the game at launch.
Yeah, this is a pretty big castle.
But this kind of will be
It's right on its own.
more facilitating smaller battles, I think, in Alpha 1. But initially, as probably most of you are aware, before players do actually take castles, they will be owned by monsters. So this one is currently owned by monsters.
So you have to siege it from the monsters?
Basically, how it's going to work is guilds will be capable of signing up to attack these castles. And you know,
Okay.
we kind of talked a little bit about this in the past, but The guild that signs up to attack, multiple guilds may do so. They're going to initially be fighting these monsters and killing a raid boss that'll be kind of in the center of the castle.
Oh, that's cool.
And what we're thinking right now is that in order to initially take the castle from the NPC control,
that is cool.
rather than using the normal sealing mechanic that's cast on the center relic, instead the raid boss will
They'd have to kill it?
Be essentially killed by the number of players out there, and the highest contributing damage to the raid boss for the initial capture of the castle will be the determining factor for the guild. We're going to test this, obviously. We have a couple of other...
That is actually kind of funny. It's going to be hard for them to... So, obviously, it has to go based off of guild, right? And not based off of player. BDO Siege. Yeah, so that sounds really cool. Obviously, like, making it to where, like, sieging the castles from the monsters is, like, a cool mechanic. And I think that having some way for that to reset in one way or another, where you have to get it back from the monsters at different periods, that sounds like a really cool raid. Now, maybe it won't be as interesting, and fighting its players will be the only interesting thing, but I like the idea of sieging the castle and then killing the lord monster inside of the castle. It's like a Warfront, dude. Not cool. I think the idea of Warfronts could be cool. They just weren't.
Other ideas as well. The whole purpose of alpha and the betas is to test these ideas and see how they play out. Now, there's a lot of stuff outside of just killing the raid boss that's important to take a castle. There are objectives in the interior of the castle, specific waypoints that you want to capture. And this will aid kind of in progressing to the raid boss eventually. But let's dismount and see if we can head in. I know we're only 3, but whoops.
I believe in
Time
us.
versus NPCs.
Yeah, I think we might
taken,
be
it's
able
always
to.
player control.
We'll do some GM hackery probably.
Yeah, I think the 3 of us combined with the tiny might of Tiny Toast and the strong staff of Luperzo, we could potentially do this. Let's see.
All right, let's see what happens.
I mean, you can see your reflection in my armor.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I love that
Pretty
armor.
majestic.
I like the little plume on top, actually. Let me
Let's
take a look
see here.
at that.
I actually want to look at this.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's like waving in the wind. The physics is a little messed up in the waiting.
Yeah, it's only the little tip of it that moves. Everything else is the exact
all
same.
right, let's head
That's
in
where
there.
all your ideas come from.
Oh.
Yeah. So you can see there, kind of interior. Like I said, this is smaller than what would normally be
the armor on that guy and the horse. Like, I'm not even thinking about it inside. Like, the armor. What do you guys think about the armor? I think it looks pretty cool. Like, there's a certain part of me that wants to see like some more, fucking extravagant shit. But yeah, I like also the basic, like, really well designed, just ornate plate armor too.
castle size, but the relic is kind of exposed there. The raid boss isn't present at the moment. These guys are they are elite mobs. So normally you would have a party.
You're having a hard time killing him. Jeez.
That would be fighting these dudes.
Okay.
Oops.
So it puts lava on the ground?
Yeah, these guys are strong.
That's crazy. Yeah, this guy takes a long time to die.
We are cheating a little bit, by the way, or at least I'm cheating. You can see the other party members have a few hundred hit points. And I bumped myself up.
I gave you some mana.
Yeah, he just can't die. I like that beam that they're shooting at him.
Did you give me mana?
What do you guys think about the spell effects and everything? I think there's, like... So the way that spell effects work, I think that what they're doing is they're making them scale down whenever there's like more people in there. They're too bright. Yeah, I think it's too flashy too. But I think that as long as it scales down based off of the amount of people that you have. So like whenever you're playing solo, your spells should have like full effect. And then whenever you're playing with a lot of people, they should have like reduced effect. And like WoW has this with certain spells like Remorseless Winter and Ravager. It's a good solution.
Now I give you mana.
Oh, the mana friendship.
Yeah, like that, the animation's too big, but that's like a small thing. Look at that. You can hardly even see him.
A lot of smoke. A lot of fire happening right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens
Get
every
two mages
dies?
in here.
Is it just like the next
no.
one after that? There's be settings to change it?
Oh
yeah.
no.
We'll switch into action, or actually, let's see. I'm gonna train the room.
Well, he's just pulling everything.
It's trying to kill us.
Oh,
Must be
I have a
nice
lot of
being
hit
a
points.
GM.
You guys, let's see. Oh no. Oh
Ooh, I
god.
wonder if
Someone's
you
on
can
my
loot the
butt.
flower.
Oh, some cool flowers in here.
Okay.
Wait for it.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh no, he reset.
guys are
Where'd you
always
go?
Yeah, I do think that is an issue, right? Is like you have there's like certain degrees of what do you call it? Of like particle effects. I think that whenever the particle effects from your spells obscure your vision, or like the spells that the abilities the mobs are casting obscures your vision, that's not good gameplay. Like, that's terrible. I hate that in WoW. I hate that in every game. Whenever visibility becomes unintentional difficulty is one of the most frustrating, like, convergences in video games in general. Like, I fucking hate it. So, I've seen a number of games that's happened with. PoE? Well, PoE is, like, a really, really bad, bad one for that. You're right. Like, you know, detonate dead effects and, like, things that... Like the blue things that spawn on the delving, like that's so bad because you can barely even see anything with all the other particle effects going on. And then I heard what was the league? The gray league, the grayscale league, Delirium. Yeah, Delirium was even worse apparently.
I kind of ran into the center. I was seeing whether or not the
Ooh, I'll follow you.
the boss had spawned yet. Where's
Okay.
the,
Here I come.
Yeah, let's come with me.
Here, Red Minstrel.
Another important thing to note, by the way, I think we need a full group for this stuff, but another important thing to note is, you know, during the siege, these gates will be closed, the portcullises will be closed, all of the walls are destructible. You guys have seen some of the destruction videos in the past, kind of how this stuff happens. But players will be able to come prepared with siege weaponry. They'll have trebuchets. They'll have
I like
the
the
ladder
sound of that.
things. What are those things called? I can't remember now. Towers, the siege towers that they can utilize.
Like the ones in a BFA
I'm
cinematic.
just kind of running around out here.
I feel like crafting a trebuchet. I used to call them tree buckets whenever I was a kid because I was like fucking 8 or 9, and crafting like siege weapons and then bringing the siege weapons that your guild's crafted into the castle siege, like just the sound of that is really cool.
Kill this.
I didn't know it. I was like 8 years old, 9 years old, dude. Yeah.
But yeah,
Said this before?
we're
Yeah,
aiming to
probably
have some of the basic castle functionality present for Alpha 1. Those of you
Yeah, I'll
guys
be
who
really
I don't know
curious
if
to
we
test
showed
this
actually
out.
any of the castle siege testing in Apocalypse, but
He froze me.
oh, how did he freeze you?
I've been blocked.
Oh, he's an occultist.
One thing I've always liked about WoW is being able to see their nameplates over their head. I don't really like the nameplates because if you're fighting more than one mob, you don't know the health of the other mobs that you're fighting. You have no idea how much health they have, and I like to see like the nameplates over their head. I like that a lot more personally as like an option. Nameplates usually something you can customize. Yeah, it probably is.
He is. He's got some of the same moves I do. Throwing them back at me.
I like the Phoenix shield thing. That's really cool. Yeah, these things have a
Probably
lot
gonna
of
make a
fucking
leash.
health, man. Holy shit. But I guess like this is meant for a whole guild though,
It's a
so
good thing
it's
I
not
cheated
really a
and
surprise.
put my health up a little bit.
Yeah.
Clicking? Oh, he didn't have his keybind set up, dude. Chill out. Yeah, chill out, dude.
What are some of the favorite sieges you guys have participated in the games you played?
UI is clean. Yeah, I think the UI is very simplistic, and that's a good
I've
thing.
really loved
I like having simple things
Warhammer
like that.
Online's PvP and Dark
Never
Age of
played Warhammer
Camelot.
Online.
Like both of those were probably my favorite experiences.
Yeah.
For me,
Okay.
I think this may actually be the first time where I'm participating in large-scale Siege PvP personally. So
Yeah,
I
I've
am
never done it
super
before.
excited to jump in and test and try out all this stuff with you guys.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's kind of cool. You've
Or
never
it might
done
have
large-scale
been-
sieges?
So I think the backpack, again, like I've talked about this before, I like the backpack. I think it's very simple. There are some games that do backpacks based off of weight. I've always thought that was annoying to me. I've never really particularly liked that, but I think that there is a value to it as well because it adds a certain degree of realism. And it's a personal opinion, but I think this backpack is fine. I like it, like Skyrim, New World has that. That's the
Back
first
in
thing I was
like,
talking about.
if we're thinking of Ragnarok Online, I think had some sieges.
Ragnarok Online, that's a name I haven't heard in 10 years.
That's probably the last time I did.
That was a
Kicking
long
it back
time
old
ago.
school.
We're gonna circle around this thing. Ragnarok Online, yeah, that's pretty cool. I also enjoyed Warhammer Online. That was a great game.
Yeah, I didn't care so much for the PvE content, but the PvP content I really liked, and I enjoyed it a lot.
You still play it?
Yeah,
I have a friend of mine
I
who's
like
like
the
super
arenas
serious about
that
it.
they had in Warhammer Online.
Yeah.
Like whenever we were in high school,
That
he
was
played
a lot
all
of
the
fun to me.
time.
And
He even, like, showed
some of
us
the way
videos of
that
his guild
their
and
abilities
shit.
worked and stuff
It
like
was
that.
crazy.
As a tank, I thought it was really cool
I thought the game sucked.
how I could like take the damage for somebody
It just
else and
looked
stuff
like
like
shit.
that. It's really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Another
castle's
important
really
thing to
big.
note about castles in Ashes is
Okay.
that they actually, we should be facing the camera.
The Silkwood Online.
Ooh, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, alright, dude.
Get close, smile.
Yeah. Another thing to note about the castles is they do
Too close, Toast.
have
Too close.
a lot of trophies for the guilds that manage to take them and keep them. As a matter of fact, the benefits for holding a castle actually get greater the longer a guild holds on to its castle. So each
That's
cycle,
cool.
which is a 30-day cycle before it gets sieged again, the benefits of the castle get stronger. They
Yeah.
exert control and pressure over the region. One of the 5 main economic regions they exert control
Yeah.
over. They can levy taxes
Yes.
against the nodes under them. They
So
can-
if you win the siege, you get to keep the castle for a month. And then after that month, you have to like defend it again. That's really cool. I like this. So I'm thinking about just like Lineage 2. I'm not really sure exactly. So here's kind of how I feel about that. Like, so the longer you hold the castle, the more rewards you get. I think that to some degree that could be bad if you get to a point where it starts snowballing. Yeah, like it's just like it starts snowballing constantly. It's too long. I don't think it's too long at all because there's multiple castles in the game. Like there's like fucking, I think a whole month. Because like if they have it all the time, then I feel like it would get kind of boring and it would be like fleeting. But I personally think a month is a good amount of time. Even 2 months I think would maybe be okay. But 1 month I think is a good number. But I'll be very curious to see like what this is because like a lot of times in like these MMOs, what ends up happening is like 1 or 2 guilds just like dominates the game, and there needs to be something to like kind of counteract that type of snowballing.
and establish essentially the quote-unquote king's presence or queen's presence within the node system that grants benefits to the citizens
That's
that are
me.
under its rule.
That's me.
And they can have special relationships established with the mayors as well to help
Special
participate in
relationships?
kind of building up the nodes that spawn
Okay.
around
All right.
the castle, these castle-dedicated
Yeah,
nodes.
this is
They're
good.
not tied into the structure of the general
meant
world
king.
node structure, but they're kind of dedicated to helping to build up the castle's defenses and the economic benefits that come along with owning the castle. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little insight to one of the castles that is going to be present in Alpha 1. And,
Yeah, this is really cool.
We'll see you guys back on stream.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That's good. 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 Good.
All right.
When's Alpha 1? They said it's
seems
at
like
the end
y'all
of the year.
liked that and enjoyed it, and you got a little Toast cameo in
Yeah.
there. She always cracks me up. I know there were a few comments and concerns in regards to obviously the difficulty of that because as Steven said, you're going to have to like break down gates. You're going to have to like kind of progress and push. It's not going to be that easy. We're just
Yeah, it's kind of like in Warfronts, for example. Like, Warfronts are not really a very good thing to explain things by, but I think Warfronts in this context do make sense. Where, like, at the beginning, you're fighting them, you're beating them back, and you go from, like, one stage to another stage. And I think that's kind of like the way that the siege should be, because in real life sieges, that's kind of how it would work, as far as I know, is they would have like maybe an outside force or like a, you know, like a wall force, and then they would break through the main gates, and they would go into the inner area, and then they would go into the keep, and so it's like more or less like kind of you're fighting them back, and that's the way that I think that it should work. Real life sieges lasted months, even years. Yeah, it was insane.
Just kind of showing like yeah.
Just to be clear, when we were running in there, so when the castle siege occurs, it'll be different than what you saw there. That's just kind of in its unowned state. If there's no owner, there will be little monsters, and you can kind of go in and fight on the off siege time when it's not siege time. Then when siege time occurs, you know, guilds will have a week period of time where they can kind of register and come and attack. And during the 2-hour-long siege, that's when everything changes. The portcullises go down.
So it's a 2-hour. It's just a 2-hour event. Holy shit! A 2-hour siege event. That seems pretty. That seems reasonable, right? I mean, like you could say like, oh, it'd be cool if it was 24 hours or something like that. But like realistically, that's not. You know, that's not. It's not gonna. That's not good. So I think 2 hours is fine. I like 2 hours a lot. And it makes sense. And also, you guys need to remember, there's multiple castles in the game. So just because you're not sieging like one castle doesn't mean that like you only have one shot at this a month. There's like multiple things that you can do if this is something you really like doing. There's like, I think like 5 of these like main castles in the game or something like that. I don't remember exactly what they said. And it could be more or less based on whenever the game comes out.
Weaponry. There's going to be specific objectives within the castles that you'll have to conquer, and then there'll be, if it's an unowned castle, it'll need to have a raid boss at the center that kind of gets fought for.
Yeah, beat his
attackers
ass.
Can fight each other during that experience. It's going to be a contesting
Makes
thing.
sense.
Once the castle is owned by a guild, that's when the supporting castle nodes start to come online and spawn each week prior to the 4th week castle siege, and they'll have to form alliances. They'll have to get support. They'll have to get resources. They'll be able to allocate funds that have been collected through taxation in order to strengthen the defenses, as well as hiring additional NPC mercenaries, you know, that type of thing. So there's a lot of systems that go into the castle sieges. Really, we were just kind of showing off the castle itself and kind of running around and the little monsters that are present.
I like the idea of fucking taking over the castle and taxing everybody. Like, for something, there's something about that. I just love it. I fucking love it, because it creates, like, it breeds that fucking resentment. It's like you've got those fuckers that are in that castle that's in part of that guild, and like, you know, like 10% of everything that you buy, it's like you just have that fucking resentment, man. It's so an ass tax, yeah, exactly, something like that. What is this here? The town project boards and were fun, cool. Yeah, I like that too. Easy to make sure all under castle's influence will come after you in a month. I don't know yet. We'll see.
The AI is not finalized.
These are nodes with castles. Maybe
I am. It's all kind of populated for the level ranges that we're going for right now, and only really populated for group content. These will actually be raid level stuff, so you're going to need really large raids in order to kind of take these things from the NPCs who live there, and then also contest with other guilds that are also trying to do the same thing. So
I think that that's a good idea, because like it would be kind of dumb if like, the first people that get up to the highest level, or the level enough of it, like you just need like 5 or 6 of them to take it over. Getting it back from the monsters should be challenging. That way it doesn't just happen and people don't just basically get a castle by the nature of them leveling up first.
Absolutely. So it's not exactly representative. It's a good approximation, maybe, but certainly it's not going to be what the final thing is going to look like.
But
that'd be really funny.
What we haven't expressed is that on the tax collection side, castles do collect taxes from their region, which encompasses
there it is.
1/5 of the world territory, and within those regions are nodes that spawn naturally, and at the end of each week there is a period of time on the weekend where NPC generated caravans from those nodes start moving towards one of the castle nodes, and during that period of time it's incumbent on the owning guild and its allies, or even the citizens of the nodes that fall under its purview, to escort those caravans to the castle's dedicated one of 3 nodes. those caravans carry the castle taxes. So the incentive to essentially
can you steal the
attack
taxes?
those caravans as they move to
Oh, wow.
build the castle dedicated nodes.
That's
on
badass,
the,
dude.
Enemies of that guild are very high, not only because of the
Yeah.
reward that you can reap in kind of sabotaging that tax collection, but also in destabilizing
Yeah, pull some Robin Hood shit, man. That's actually cool.
or reducing the defensive capability of the castle itself, because it depends on those dedicated nodes around the castle in order to have strong.
Dude. All caravans
defenses.
create PvP
Now,
zones. Yeah,
citizens
that's
of
pretty cool.
nodes that fall under the purview of the castle may not participate in the attack of those caravans. They are automatically registered as the defenders of those caravans. And that's important because certain benefits, it's a reciprocal relationship between the castle and its nodes.
Makes sense.
Essentially, there are benefits granted to citizens of the castle, and the longer that the castle remains in the hands of its incumbent guild, the stronger the benefits become overall. But at the same time, that represents a greater incentive to attack the castle because the rewards will get greater over time also. So just to give you a little bit more information, a little bit more information on it.
Awesome. And I did notice some folks commenting like, Steven really loves zooming all the way out with his camera. You can totally zoom in with your camera. You don't have to have it zoomed out.
I'm going to move up a little bit so we can see a little bit of the images for the castle sieges, okay? Here we go.
Excited.
I know.
Okay, here we go.
See the little turtle.
All right, so our first thing here is, and I know that all of the cameras, because I have to, their cameras are so tiny, their cameras are actually better quality than that. It's just because I'm
damn,
screen
look at
sharing with
that.
them. We're going to find a better solution for this for our next stream. Promise. Hold me to it. I know Jalan will. No, I'm just
Yo,
kidding.
that's fucking badass.
I just like trolling. So first and foremost, we're going to talk a little bit about the Junior City Gate that you see here. And there's also a lot
So this is in
of
game?
little intricacies that we're going to show off in some other assets as well. And this first one is kind of like giving you the feel of what that gate is going to look like. This isn't even the whole city itself.
That is crazy, dude. I love the idea of like a fucking gigantic moat, and you can only reach it from like going through one bridge. Like it just sounds fucking cool, man. It sounds fucking cool.
I want to talk a little bit about that, and then I can show as well the lamps and some of the props as well, and how those integrate with nodes as they progress, like level 1 to all the way to level 6.
Jeff, why is everybody telling you to put as much water in your mouth as possible?
I don't know.
It's because when you drink,
big Yeti, so I don't know. Maybe.
Oh.
It's because they can see like all the water slushing around in your mouth. It's weird. I don't know.
Jeez.
Is it like does he have like trans?
I wonder what the Twitch. Yeah, fucking Twitch chat, dude.
I don't know. I think when he like laughs and stuff.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So
it's probably harder to see because it's kind of blurry.
This is a concept piece showing kind of the architectural designs for the Junior Stage 5 city. This piece in particular is really focused on the outer walls. One important thing to note about the way that nodes essentially get established is we're now utilizing a platform system as these nodes kind of get constructed in real time. And it's semi-procedural. Obviously, there's parameters that we set, and those parameters dictate the placement of specific buildings that adhere to the designs for both sieges as well as the roads that exist and the location of specific
that looks good
services and or merchants. But what that ensures is that every node
basic clean
will have a unique appearance. It will be distinct to itself, and even if it gets leveled up multiple times, there's an opportunity there where the node platform design gets changed for each progression.
So based off of the way that it looks like.
And this is great from an immersion.
I mean, you just level it up, it looks cooler and bigger. I mean, that's pretty fucking simple. I like that.
Standpoint, obviously, because you're not going to see cookie cutter type nodes with
only people that wouldn't like that are people who are
city layouts and node designs. It's going to be fresh kind of each time, and they're not going to be like, oh, this is every node's a rectangle kind of thing. They're going to be natural, immersive, looking like normal cities and stuff.
Yeah, and so this next one is kind of the lamps, and you can kind of see the progression as, you know, it goes from, you know, a town all the way up to, I think this is like Metropolis-ish. It depends, and there might be another
Let me
stage
look at
in
the
there,
other
but,
pictures. I'm
kinda
gonna move
gives
on.
Now you can kind of see the node 3 and 4 is like a village.
So look at this
It's
one
really
here.
cool seeing like the different.
So it has like all of the different types of like fireplaces here, I guess, or braziers. These look pretty cool. Yeah, I would say that looks nice. And I'm just gonna go through some of the pictures so we can look at them together. So what's this one here? Bookcase. That looks nice, sure. What about this one here? That also looks nice. Brazzers? Yo, chill out. No, not brazzers, okay? Alright, what about this one here? Oh, wow! That's an absolute unit, dude. Look at him. Look at that motherfucker. Damn. Those look cool. Imagine if this dude was the size of like a horse, man. Like, that'd be scary. I like how they have him running and like the sounds, dude. The sounds are great. Okay, so, oh, now we're gonna see a little bit more gameplay. Okay, let's see this. Wait, do you get to ride on the turtle?
User left your channel.
Ooh.
User was moved out of your channel.
Okay, let me see here. Is it matter? Yeah, I look at it. It's like out on the top. Oh my god. The sound, dude. And then the other guy makes the same sound. Oh my god. Can it swim? I wonder. Oh, wow. That's nice. Look at that. Damn. That's a pretty good little trailer here. The Celestial Turtles. Yeah, these are cool. The turtle sounds angry. Yeah, you're fucking making him run around. Turtles are slow. He didn't want to run that fast. I like his arms and like the scales that come out of his arms. Yeah, that looks really, really cool. Let's see the rest
cool.
of this
We've
here.
heard pretty little backgrounds.
So you have like this guy. Looks like, I don't even know. What is this, like an Ottoman warrior? Like, that actually looks pretty cool. I don't really ever see like that type of stuff used. It's not a store mount, okay? Or it could be. I don't even know. Okay, let's see about this one. Oh.
All the textures. Obviously, this isn't a T-pose, but you can just see how amazing it is. And you saw my armor when we were in-game earlier, and how like the metal pieces like reflect and stuff. It's pretty crazy.
I like that,
yeah,
man.
I think this set is a level 20 set, and this is not a cosmetic. This is an in-game achievable armor set, I believe.
Dude, I want to see what the end game fucking raid sets look like, man. Like, I think WoW, like, for example, like, WoW has, like, some of the most badass sets in the fucking, like, of any game. Like, it's fucking badass. So I want to see what they're going to come up with.
Yeah.
I think the cap's, like, 60 or 50.
And then our next one here is made by Ali or Eli. The Aegis of Vigilance, and some of you might recognize this one. I think we had a fan that created this as well, which was cool.
Yeah, I like this. What do you guys think about this? It looks good.
You know, one thing I love about these types of shields is just the sheer length, that kind of tower shield look.
Exactly. See, see, I've been saying this forever, man. Like, you have like these little fucking shields. It's like it with a Blizzard. This is what their shields are like now. Don't you hit me! You better not hit me! I'll block your attacks! Nobody's gonna get through here! Oh no, it's not gonna happen! Yeah, that's what their shields are nowadays. Like, I wanna go back. This is the kind of shields that we need to have. Like, where is it? I'll get the shield out. You guys know what I'm gonna get. Like this, okay? You have a big fucking shield, and it's like you have a big fucking shield like that, and there ain't nothing that's gonna get through it, and you feel like you're a motherfucking tank. Like, I not this little baby dick bullshit, man. Like, I want to see some big ass fucking shields. Some bucklers are okay, but whenever it comes to tanking, like, I want a big ass fucking shield. Skull flame shield, yeah, exactly.
You know, I don't
The
often
Felmus
see
shield.
that in MMORPGs. They're kind of a large, piece for usually for
Yeah.
characters. But I think the way we have
Hell
set
yeah.
up the character and animations helps to
This
facilitate.
is not
Roman
made by a
shields?
fan.
Yeah, exactly.
I was saying like a fan made fan art of this shield.
Yeah, but this is the completed.
That looks
art.
nice,
Excuse
dude.
me. This is the completed
Official art.
official piece in game. So.
Oh, that's the in-game
What was the name of
model.
the shield? What was it called?
The
big ass red
Aegis
shield.
of Vigilance.
Yeah,
Aegis of Vigilance.
that's
Got
what I said.
I believe that's how you pronounce that, right?
Yeah, big ass red shields.
it. Yeah. The Aegis of Vigilance.
Let me see what the rest of these are.
Yeah. We have amazing artists, so we
Okay.
just kind of like love
Just
having
like
them all
dwarves.
share, a couple.
So there are female dwarves in this game. Contrary to popular belief, there are actually female dwarves. And I think that looks fine. Yeah, they're short and stocky. That's exactly what you would expect out of a dwarf. It's the beards? Yeah. I guess the females don't have beards. Okay, let's see here.
Pieces
They've
of
got
art
some
that
more
they're really
gameplay
proud
coming
of
up.
from the month. And obviously, there's some stuff that we don't want to show yet, so stay tuned for some things as we
Okay.
progress. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for our dev update. We're going to move over to our Q&A next, and I think, do we
Oh,
want
are
to
they
like
gonna
have some
replay?
of those like videos playing in the background, Steven? Maybe.
Sure. I have 20 minutes before I have to do a hard stop. So
Okay,
Try
I'm
to
just
get
trying to
through-
look to see.
a lot of support from Epic, the creators of Unreal, and usually
Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll pause here. We're not going to go through the whole Q&A. Okay, so anyway, I will give some feedback on this, like in general. I'll talk about it for a couple of minutes before we move on. Overall, I think that the game does show a lot of promise. Now, obviously, we'll have to see the game, we'll have to play it, and I think a lot of these games, like especially with Ashes of Creation, so much of it relies on like players, and because so much of it relies on players, it's going to be more difficult for the game to get off the ground until a lot of people are playing it and getting excited with it. You know what I mean? You're not quitting WoW. Let's be honest here. When did I ever say I was going to quit WoW? I don't want to quit WoW. Yeah, I'm not gonna quit WoW. I'm not gonna watch the whole thing, guys. Well, I didn't. Buy the alpha and beta. I probably will start playing it whenever the alpha thing comes out. I will definitely do that. People start playing WoW. Yeah, I play. Listen, here's the thing: is like I will probably always main WoW, at least until fucking I don't know. Maybe at some point I won't. I don't really see myself going and playing another game right now, but I'm also not going to just like say, oh, this will never happen or whatever. So that's kind of where I'm at. Turtle Mount's exclusive. You missed the part where they said that. That's okay. Let's face it, WoW is MySpace and you're Tom. I don't think that I'm Tom. I think I'm one of those scene girls that put in the fact that they have like 5,000 friends in next to their name. So I'm not Tom. I'm like the scene girl that would put in the thing about how how many friends she had. It's a little bit different.